Do not leave the theater until the lights come up.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
It's worth it.
It is not absolutely worth it.
This is not like one of those post-credit scenes where it's like a one-off joke. I stayed for that.
Oh, that was
Right.
fun.
And they're not setting up another movie.
Right.
And,
No.
you know,
This is something that will play at your heartstrings.
Yes, absolutely.
Complete waterworks for me.
Well, look at you. You found yourself in front of the Untitled Film Project Podcast. I'm Jim Chandler, along with Justin Bradford and Jeremy Gover. It's the podcast where you watch, then come listen. And this week we're talking about Wish, the Disney animated musical comedy drama that almost marks a return to the Disney princess era without technically having a princess. And we'll be asking the big question at the end of the episode, which is...
The big question this week, because in this movie, you will see a lot of, actually every Disney animated classic
an homage to it. Yeah.
Yep, at the end. And so therefore, we thought, you know what? That reminds us. What is the most underrated Disney movie? Everyone talks about Aladdin and Lion King and
Sure.
all Snow White. What's the most underrated?
Brother Bear, everybody talks about Brother Bear.
Of course, yeah. Well, what's the most underrated Disney movie? What movie do you love so much that no one ever talks about Disney-wise? And remember, animated, not Pixar.
Right.
Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Walt Disney Animated Studios, yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't know much about the movie going in, and it took a little while, but this movie was kind of a slow burn for me. I got to admit, at the beginning, I felt it was like a little generic, and then I'm kind of starting to get invested. I felt like the songs were getting even better. The story was getting amped up. By the end of this movie, I was back in the fold of loving Disney animation. And this is totally a love letter to the Disney animation studios and a lot of the movies that we loved. I really enjoyed, how much they reference other movies in the Disney catalog, and it was fun, enjoyable, and I just walked out of there pretty darn happy. Initial take from Jeremy Gover.
There's this joke it's tired now. But
Typically your opinions and me making fun of them.
yes. Also tired.
That's what
It's tired now, but people, they love to be like, oh, the best part of the movie was the credits when it ended.
Right. When I got to walk out.
Yeah. This is the best part of Wish was the credits for me.
I'm
not because it ended, but
I'm not going to disagree. We should get into this more, and it's just a little bit, but you're right.
I think we should, because my initial take is that the best part of the movie is the credits, and that's a compliment. That is my initial take for Disney's Wish.
Oh, good tease.
Someone's getting serious.
Oh,
is that on frame? I can't see right now.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. You're looking super Disney.
Oh, thank you. So Jim used my phrase that I was going to use, but this is Disney's love letter to its fans, itself, its creators, its creatives, its voices, anyone who's ever been involved with Walt Disney Animation Studios projects. It's the love letter. And it's curious because I look at some other critics and I feel like their nose is up on a lot of things when it relates to this movie, that they don't get it and what Disney was trying to accomplish through this film. It is a celebration of the 100 years of Disney. And when you look at it with that scope, just knowing that should trigger enough to get what they're trying to accomplish in this movie.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It does not introduce anything new to us or anything that is going to break barriers or anything like that. But that's okay, because this is meant to be a celebration film. And that's what I took it as, was celebrating, there goes the hat, celebrating so many things that Disney has done in its years. The things that stood out the most to me in terms of initial take was the animation styling was beautiful. And people have been hating on it. And this is Disney's fault.
Yeah.
Because of what they've released and teased is not matching with what we saw in the film. In the film, you see a mix of 2D and 3D animation.
Yeah.
The 3D being the characters, the background being the 2D watercolor, hand-drawn, beautiful animation that people have loved about Disney that they steered away from years ago, where Lilo and Stitch was the last true tainted background of Disney animation. And people have been clamoring for that back, and we got that in this. Music. I love the music. There's a couple earworms in here that I think one could be nominated, and at least one should probably get radio play, like so many other Disney songs have gotten, like Talk About Bruno, all those types of things.
I was thinking about it.
There's different genres that are keyed in throughout the music as well. It's not one genre as well, which again is playing homage to Disney of the past, where they're hitting the different pieces. There's subtle Easter eggs that I appreciate, where it's not necessarily always in your face, but subtle nods, which again, as a Disney fan, you can tell, I appreciate, because they're not throwing it at you. It's like, if you know, you know.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
This is a good origin story in so many different ways that I did come out of there, especially with the credits and the way they did design the credits. I felt Disney magic that I didn't feel in Strange World necessarily.
I didn't feel it in anything Disney's done in a while.
Especially Walt Disney Animation Studios. I don't want to say Disney's back 100%, but I can tell they put the time and effort into this that they needed to for a 100-year anniversary celebration. Not everyone's going to like it. Critics are already hating on it because it's nothing new. They're doing this. Disney fans and families are going to love this, and that's who it's being catered to, and that's where they're going to make their money, because it's rewatchable for a lot of families. The music is going to get played till it's dead in cars, and that's what they're banking on. That's what they want out of this, is to create more fans and deeper fans, and also give a thank you to those that have been fans.
All right, let's go a little more deep into Wish. Now let's start with Gover.
You guys have both mentioned it's a love letter to their fans, this and that. I have a question, and I'm not being a jerk. I'm not trying to get a rise out of you. I'm just trying, put your Donald Duck hat on, because you can get mad at me all you want. Side note, he's my favorite Disney character of all time because he has real emotions. That's a side note. What is the balance between it's a love letter to fans and they're just going back to the well?
That's a great question.
And it's not a sellout necessarily, but like, hey, remember all this cool stuff we did that you love from your childhood? Here's how we're going to make you feel about it. It's like, is it a trick or is it really a love letter to the fan? Like, I don't know what the threshold is.
Well, it's both.
Yeah, it is both.
And it can be.
And it is always like somewhere on this spectrum of great story and fan service, which is, I think, what we get a lot in superhero movies.
And Star Wars.
Right, and Star Wars is a great example. So I guess, where would you say it was on that scale? Did it tip too far to fan service?
I think once I figured out that it was Disney's 100th anniversary. I mean, I've known it's the 100th anniversary, but I'm saying once in the theater, in the moment when I'm locked into the theater, I'm not thinking about other stuff.
Yep.
And I realized, oh, it's their 100th anniversary. This is an homage to the 100 years. Then it was fine.
That also dawned on me while I was watching the movie.
Yes.
And up until that point, I said, well, this is just average fare.
Yes.
But when I realized that it was, let's just soak up all the wonderful memories we've had of watching all these movies, I enjoyed the movie more.
So that's curious that you say that. So the initial teaser trailer said, and they think they've gone away from this and they should go back to it. So this is, again, a Disney marketing thing that, I have problems with when it comes to their films, right? Is it's 100 years in the making.
Yes.
In their initial trailer. They pushed the whole 100 years in the making. Like, they were leaning into it. And then for some reason, they did the hokey pokey and backed out. I don't know why they've done that, because I think, especially now hearing it from both of you and hearing it with my friend, a father of 3 children, that as soon as it clicked, he said this as well. So that's 3 people now that have said when the click happened, you're like, I can appreciate it more now because I realize what they're trying to accomplish. I think the setup is almost a little more important that people need to realize going in. Oh, this is a celebration, because other films have done that. We're like, this is a celebration of this, a celebration of music, a celebration of this actor, a celebration of this and that. They lean into that more. I think they're going to have more people overall happy from the get-go instead of having to wait to have the realization.
I have a theory.
Okay.
That maybe when they originally marketed it as a love letter to fans, there was no strike. And then they had to pivot and say, because I don't think being the big studio was something they wanted to celebrate or shine attention to during an ugly
That's a
strike.
good point. That's a very good point, Jim.
So if they were smart, they pivot right back
Yep, do it.
and go to that, because that's why people will go see the movie.
Here's the thing. They released this lyric video of Chris Pine's "This is the Thanks I Get," and people were thinking that lyric video is in the movie. With the lyrics on the screen, like, what is this, a sing-along? Because, one, people, as people, are stupid. A person, like in Men in Black, a person...
I was just thinking that.
See?
Yeah.
They're great. They're smart. They're intellectual. But people together are
stupid.
They're stupid. They're dumb. And so them thinking that there's going to be a sing-along lyrics on the screen, Disney is doing a disservice to themselves with marketing the film in that manner.
So I'm just rounding out my deeper dive here, because I got two more things I want to talk about. If you're going to pay homage to the older films, there's a deer in here that is actually named Bambi.
Yeah.
There is a gigantic bear that walks around and talks. Okay. Why aren't you making it more overt? So why doesn't Bambi look more like a 21st century I'm not saying like, oh, take it straight out of the cells and make it like that. That's a little ridiculous.
Because it's supposed to be inspiration.
Sure, but I'm saying make it look Bambi. Make the big bear Baloo.
I wouldn't have wanted that. Then I think that's crossing the line on the spectrum that Jim was talking about.
But they called it Bambi on the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's already crossing the line. If you're not going to call it Bambi, that's one thing. You're like, oh, it's kind of cool. If you know, you know.
I think that's the only time they did it, though. I think
with Bambi and John, they didn't even do it with Thumper, and then you have the Seven Dwarves with just the first letter of the names.
Yeah, so, and you have King Magnifico, who's got the wishes in front of him, and one of them is Peter Pan inside.
Yes,
there's two others, but they don't name them. You just like, oh, you just notice.
There's a Lion King reference where they're holding up right in the kind of the side of the screen. That's how you do that. There's subtle nods to all these different movies throughout the years, right?
I think it was that everybody gets one moment.
Right,
what it was.
But to say, have the line in there, oh, hey, see you later, Bambi. Now you've crossed the line. Now lean in. Okay. If you're gonna do it, lean in all the way.
Now it's full go over. He's picking on that one thing, and he's gonna gnaw on that bone until it's nothing. Until he swallows it.
Maybe you need the Donald Duck.
Give me that. Give me that thing. It kind of matches what I'm wearing. My deeper dive is over.
Yeah,
you look like a
lean
clown.
down like this so they can see the emotion of the eyebrows of Donald Duck, which are furrowed and angry.
Sheesh. Yeah, he's an angry duck.
I know.
I can't do the impression though. I'd love to right now.
I know. Give me that hat.
But it looks good. It's a hot duck right over there.
No.
Okay.
No. Sounds more like a dying rat.
All right. Especially because all of us are musically inclined in some form or fashion, whether it's former careers, playing music, DJing music, whatever. Thoughts on the music and the songs in this film?
Well, as I stated in my initial take, that I thought the movie music was sort of generic at first, and then really started to get into songs that I was like, all right, I'm tapping my feet. I'm bobbing to this. This is good. I think it was the song "Now That We Know." Is that
Knowing What I Know Now?
Knowing What I Know Now. Thank you. It was by the time they got to that, they were full speed, had me with the music. And then from then on, I just thought like, wow, these are great songs. So there may be one or two before that that were really good, but I thought it definitely built. What did you think?
So the one thing that stands out to me is "At All Costs" is going to be utilized in so many different ways. It's a duet, and they're not specifically talking about wishes in the lyrics. The lyrics are broad.
They can be used otherwise.
They can be used. It could be wedding songs. It could be a newborn baby song. It could be a father-daughter dance. It could be so many different things.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that's one of those ones that could potentially get some play. Going to get plenty of streams, but it's going to be utilized in so many different ways in pop culture and personally because of the way it's written. And that's very smart because they didn't write it specifically where it's talking about wishes or protecting wishes or anything magical or things like that. It's protecting something at all costs. How relatable is that in so many different ways in life?
Sports teams, be the first. Do not be the 12th. You be the first team to do it. Don't
Exactly.
be the 12th.
If 10 teams have done it, don't.
I know. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't
if
even
a
think
sports
about
team
it.
uses at all cost, I'm very curious how they're going to do that.
Hey, man.
Interesting.
Protect the quarterback at all costs.
No, protect the championship.
That's also true. That's going to be a curious
Or
ballad.
tank the season, Chicago Blackhawks, so you get the first pick.
San Jose has something to say.
Yeah, well, I'm good last year, but I want to talk about this musically, and I don't want to give this away, even though this is a movie podcast where we want you to have already seen the movie. But for those of you that haven't seen the movie, there is a tease of a song throughout the film where you're getting, as Bradford told me, like right in the theater,
yes.
you're getting progressions of it, you're getting iterations of it where you're going like, that sounds familiar, but just like whatever the notes were that would make you go, oh, that's what they were hinting at in the background of the score of this film, it would go away. And then that's why I fully encourage you, not only because of the end credits, which you're going to get to, but stay after the end credits, because on a very rare occasion for a Disney animated film, there is a post-credit scene that pays off that anticipation that you're feeling musically throughout the movie.
Whether you're conscious about it or not.
Right.
Exactly. It's beautiful. It's beautifully done.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I talked to somebody who had left the theater before that post-credit scene and told them what it was, because they asked me what it was. They said there was a post-credit. And then I told them, and they're like, oh, darn, I gotta go back.
Do not leave the theater until the lights come up.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
It's worth it.
It is absolutely worth it.
This is not like one of those post-credit scenes where it's like a one-off joke. I stayed for that.
Oh, that was fun.
And they're not setting up another movie.
Right,
no.
And,
No.
you know,
This is something that will play at your heartstrings.
Yes, absolutely.
Complete waterworks for me.
Okay, so like a lot of this movie, I don't think we have to get into like too much of the plot of the movie, because I think let's get into, you know, let's go into like page 3 of the love letter, and let's talk about the end credits, because this is not a spoiler. It's just plain fun. I have never been to an end credits where it was everybody in the movie theater was playing a game. And it was like a trivia game, something you'd play in the car on a long road trip with your family. They were rolling the credits, and there would be constellations along the sides of the credits that would, when clustered together, you'd go, oh, that constellation looks a lot like a movie character from one of their previous movies. And then when you realize that they were always changing, they're coming about every 10 seconds or so, the whole theater was playing guessing games, like who could name what that movie was that was coming up on the screen. It was so much fun.
It's beautiful. It was so well done. And here's the thing that I've noticed nowadays. There's certain movies that will have just great end credit scenes, and there's because you think when you're watching the credits, it actually says credits designed by. Like there are companies that's what they do for films. They design credits.
Yeah.
I mean, we think of what Endgame and those credits for the main actors for it. Like that was wonderfully designed to pay credit to the original Avengers and things like that.
But there's other ones. If you go back in the 90s, Austin Powers 2, Spy Who Shagged Me, had outtakes.
Yes.
Right.
And that was
Right.
It wasn't they weren't the first to do it, but it was
Hangover
one of the
has the pictures from
Yes.
what was on the camera and
For sure.
everything.
Exactly.
This is one of those ones that's fun for your whole family to sit and enjoy and just have that trivia moment while
Right.
watching these credits, because that's again the 100-year anniversary. This is again paying credit to so many different things that they're part of, and they cover everything. They're not leaving.
They cover, in fact,
They're not leaving anything out.
I'm not even going to name it, but I did yell out the name of one of their least successful Disney animation
If they don't
studios.
include it.
Yeah, if they don't include it, I'm going to revolt.
and it was there.
It was there.
It was
Everything is there.
I had to wait a while, but they included it.
So here's a pro tip: if you want to do this little trivia game, you're going to the film, right? And you want to impress your friends or parents or whoever, right? It's in order. So chronological order. That's your tip.
All right.
It's in chronological order.
Have
There
fun.
you go. So that will help with your guessing game. You will look smarter than the rest of the people you're there with. And that's what we want for you. Are smart, beautiful, educated, and with hygiene beyond reproach viewers and listeners of the Untitled Film Project podcast.
Except the Priscilla.
Yes, except for those people that
Except for the Elvis supporters.
yeah,
But keep coming for the algorithm. Thanks.
oh my god, the people hated us for that episode. It's time for scores for Disney's Wish. And let's start with Gover.
Okay, I wish they had. I wish they had leaned into that character thing more again, or backed away from the homage to the other previous films.
Naming the
Right, again,
characters that
if
from
you're
other
gonna
movies.
name Bambi, that's fine, but then name the other ones. If you're not going to name Bambi, also fine. Then have a bunch of so it was
Your continuity issues.
Or maybe they went with Bambino.
something like that.
right.
Right.
Close, but not exact.
The best part of the movie again was the credits. The Disney magic proved it's still around. It's still a thing because I left the theater just trying my hardest not to cry because it was so beautiful at the end. And I cannot stress it enough. Do not leave the theater until the house lights come up. The story is solid. Characters are solid. But overall, the best pieces were in the trailer. This movie was not entertaining to me until the end. Like it was just kind of like, okay, like it's very vanilla. It's very right. Yeah, you can go right ahead.
Angry Donald hat just came on for those.
It was just very like, okay, this is a cool thing, and I'll see it once, and that's the end of it. But the magic is in the end. The magic is in the trailer. The magic is in the credits, and of course that end credit scene. The biggest misstep, I think, we discovered it. I didn't think about this until we discovered it on the show. Was not outright calling attention to the 100 years at the beginning. I don't recall any kind, other than maybe the Disney 100 logo.
Right.
I don't recall any kind of,
No.
this is for the 100 years of employee, like any kind of
Do
just,
you want me to spoon feed it to you?
I'm saying, dude, you had three people.
Here's the airplane.
You had three different people, you said. Him, me, and your friend. Say.
Yes.
When it clicked in the movie, it was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
movie changed.
So they shouldn't spoon feed at the very beginning of the movie. It should be in the marketing.
No, because if you're no. This is the product I'm seeing. I'm here for this. So if there was a sentence that just said, I'm making this up, so it's not very eloquent, but this is for our 100 years of supporters or
Right.
anything like that.
Thanks for 100 years.
Dude, we saw at the beginning of The Woman King something like, this story is based on true events or whatever. And it wasn't real. I mean, it wasn't like it was, there was a whole lot of controversy with that statement. So if they can do it, Disney can certainly put one simple sentence very eloquently on the beginning of this is for 100 years or here's to another 100 or some sort of thing that's outright calls to attention. Hey, this is 100 years in the making. They didn't do that.
You need a Snickers.
I'll be Betty White any day of the week. That's fine with me. I give this movie a 6.0.
God, I hate you so much. I hate you so much. Nitpick the everything.
It wasn't entertaining, dude. And when it clicked in the theater, it shouldn't click during the movie.
How are you not entertained by a talking goat and dancing chickens?
All the talking goat parts were used in the trailers.
No, they weren't.
Every funny part. My butt did that. How did my voice get so low? That's all,
two.
Those are all. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and name them all and waste everybody's time. They've seen them in the trailers.
Why are you so angry?
Because you're not getting it.
You're not getting it. You obviously didn't get it while
Your
watching
Disney
the movie.
stanness is coming out right now.
No, it's not.
So
I was expecting to fight with Jim, not
All right.
you.
Let me come in as the peacemaker.
Those are bad guys.
For my for I'm not a Disney file, but I love Disney, right? I really like Disney. Let me put it that way. I'm in real like with Disney. Even though a lot of this stuff lately has not been up to par. I agree with Jeremy. I would have probably enjoyed it more had just a few more clues earlier on. That the movie did change when I realized that it was a tribute to the Disney 100, because that Disney 100 has been front of every movie they've put out this year, whether it was animated or not.
whether it was a tribute or not.
Right. I thought it was a very average movie until those clues tipped me off, and I realized I've been watching this wrong. They could have helped me out a little bit.
That's right.
I am definitely, this is a bias. If you had asked me halfway through the movie, I would have given it a 5. Okay? What I'm saying is that by the time the lights came on in the theater, I came out so happy, like I had left a ride at Disney, that I am giving Wish an 8.
How much of that 8 is the final credits and end scene, though?
I'm going to say that's going to give it at least a 1.5.
It helps seal the deal.
It sealed the deal. Okay. It really did. It was like opening up presents on Christmas Day, and all you got was socks. But that last present was the thing you wanted so bad.
Red Ryder shotgun.
Yes, yes. So okay, let's go to Mr. Disney Space Force himself.
Disney Stan, I think you're referring to.
Look, even in my TikTok review, I said it's going to be a biased one.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's not like I went in saying I'm going to enjoy this no matter what, because I've definitely been critical about things, but more on the marketing side, because that's what frustrates me the most, is if you have something that you believe in your product, put it out there and make sure people understand what it is. Mm-hmm. So while I agree there needs to be more said about the 100 year to put it in perspective, I don't know if I would have necessarily liked that a line at the beginning. I feel like marketing needs to be doing that more, so we're in agreement in a different way.
Sure.
Okay, like I do think there needs to be more of a setup.
Expectations going into
I'll
the
meet
movie.
you
Expectations.
at that camp. Yes.
So, okay, but they need to do more of that, because they did at first and they took away from it. And I think, like Jim said, strike probably had something to do with like, what we can't really be celebrating because we're on strike now.
But is that true though? Because like I agree with that. I give it credence, but you can do it with text on screen. You don't need crew for that. You just need
it's
an
not
editor
about
to
that.
put it.
It's about bringing awareness of, we're celebrating something when people are not working because we're not paying them
And
enough.
Disney Disney did nothing to help their reputation during the strike.
See, so that's where I totally can see where Jim's coming from with that as well. For me, I felt Disney magic almost throughout, because I did go in knowing the 100 years. So it's different perspectives.
Sure.
Of course. Ariana DeBose killed it.
Yes.
With her songs.
Yes,
she was
great.
Chris Pine, who's not necessarily known for being a singer, I think did a very good job in his portrayal of King Magnifico, but especially in the vocals. Now, we got a little bit of him singing in Dungeons and Dragons as a minstrel, right?
Right.
but not in the same way or form or fashion.
And both of them did well in the form that they're not known for.
Yes.
So Chris Pine surprised us with a delightful singing number.
Yes.
And Ariana DeBose gives us some great comedy.
Yes, absolutely. Great
The
comedic
acting
timing
was
in her
good.
voice.
Yeah, even though she's a fantastic singer.
And then you add in Alan Tudyk, who actually has lines and is not just balking like a chicken. Which I always go back to the whole, when he's doing the hey, hey voiceover, then he goes, I went to Juilliard. It's fantastic, because Alan Tudyk is one of the most talented voice actors
Yes, he is.
ever.
A treasure.
He's just so good.
He puts everything into it, even if he's not actually speaking lines. The way he's able to bring a human voice to a character that doesn't talk English is absolutely fantastic. I think it was very well cast with the voice actors. I like those little nods, and I like them being subtle overall. I can meet you in the middle with the Bambi thing, because either take it or don't take it.
Right.
So if you just would have went Bambino or something that's an inspired name, okay. I don't think it stood out. I don't think John stood out as much as Bambi.
No, because John's a typical name.
It's a typical name.
So you can,
but it's also the name.
kind of generic.
Right. But Bambi stands out 100%. So, Gover, I see where you're coming from with that. Of course.
Common ground has been met.
Hey, I'm trying to make it as non-biased as possible, also knowing that I love Disney. Okay, I'm trying to meet in the middle here. But I did feel the magic throughout the entire thing, especially with the star, and knowing from Disneyland you have Star Catcher. There's that carnival game you can play, and the leaning into the whole star thing. I thought the star was cute. And how it had dressed up in little costumes.
I
and it had a
hated how much
personality.
I fell for it.
Right, because they're going to sell so much star
I'm like,
stuff.
oh, I'm being manipulated, but I don't mind.
We're going to get Valentino plushies. We're going to get star plushies. We're
like a
going to
Porg.
get Funko Pops of all of it. Oh, yeah, it's
Way
in there
more,
for a
though.
reason.
Yeah.
But I like how they always came back to this, the one you wish upon a star moment, because that's what she did. She wished upon a star, and the star came and
She got
granted
it.
her a wish.
Yeah.
And just even the nods to the fairy godmother, there's so many things. I'm not spoiling anything because you're supposed to be watching before you come and listen and watch anyway. So
Right.
all those little things, even in the forest scene, they have her dressed up in a very inspired fairy godmother robe as well, in a cloak. So many little subtle nods is what I really enjoyed, and that's where I started to feel the magic of, okay, I love this. But what set me over the edge in terms of why I loved it was the animation. They didn't just go modern. They paid homage to what made Disney animation magical, which was the hand-colored, the watercolor, the backdrops that just make it feel magical and picturesque.
Still so nice to see.
That's what set me over the edge of, okay, they truly are paying tribute to the 100 years because they realize people want that styling in the background, and they gave it to us. All that, plus the end credits, and then the end credits scene. I'm going, like I'm starting to feel that. But it was so fun during the credits with people sitting there and pointing at the screen and watching. And for that, I do give it an 8.5. So just slightly above Jim. But
I can't get there.
yeah, you don't have to get there.
I know that.
You don't have to. I don't expect you to. I have a different perspective on it, and I know that. I just think that you're acting like Forky over there, giving it as low as you did.
Great Disney reference.
The Untitled Film Project Podcast always has a big question, and let's kick things off. Jeremy Gover.
Disney's Wish features art, I'll leave it at that, of every single Disney Animated Studios movie.
And this does not include
its 100
Pixar.
years. Right.
Yep. This is just the ones they've been part of.
Which got us thinking, hey, what is the most underrated Disney movie? What is one of your favorite ones that no one ever talks about? At the top of the show, I mentioned Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. These are like the meat and potato. Like when you think of Disney, that's what you think of.
Right.
Let's go beyond that. What are some Disney movies, again, not Pixar, just Disney Animated Studios movies that you love? What's the most underrated Disney movie? Let's start with Jim.
I'm going to go...
Calm down over there.
I'm going to go with Atlantis. Which is a movie that
Solid choice.
We rewatched that at my house probably for the first time since it was in theaters, just this year, and it's a pretty solid movie. It's got some good comedy. It's got some great character voices. It was Michael J. Fox, wasn't it?
Michael J. Fox, Jim Varney.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just something warm about it, and it never got a whole lot of attention. Maybe because, I don't know, it didn't have a princess or some other hook. But it's a pretty entertaining film. I think the plot is pretty good. It just, from start to finish, it's a solid movie. And it never gets any talk. So that's where I'm planting my flag.
It was during the weird time with Disney animation with the action adventure. And I think if a movie like that were released maybe in the mid-2010s, it would have done so much better. So I think just the timing of it was off. Like Disney was actually ahead of its game, and it didn't deliver because they didn't market it well. What a problem that is.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do overall well, but it has this cult following now.
Right. All right. The Disney stand gets to go last. I'm going to go to Jeremy Gover.
Okay.
No, only because we want to build to it. Tell us the underrated
Don't want mine stolen.
Disney
I know. I
animated
am
film.
worried about that, actually. Okay, so the selfish one for me is Emperor's New Groove. Again, as a David Spade fan, I think it's a really solid movie. That's how I found the film. Because it was right in that age for me personally where it was like the Lion King, the home run haul at the Murderer's Row of Disney was kind of over.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden Pocahontas was out, and then like it's like okay, and then Tarzan, like, all right, and then Hunchback Notre Dame, like okay, it's good, but so all of a sudden like the that string of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King was over. Okay, so and then it comes out around 2000 or I don't know, late 90s, whatever it was, and it's kind of in this dip of my personally even caring about Disney movies. Right, I'm too young to like I'm feasting on like more adult movies because I'm like 20 years old, but I'm not old enough. It doesn't matter. The point is that Emperor's New Groove, I think, is super underrated. And I think Zootopia is one of the greatest Disney movies of all time in top 3. Never talked about. But my answer is Bolt.
Oh, I did not see you going that way.
Love Bolt.
With Miley Cyrus.
Which I didn't, again, another movie I didn't think of. My kid... We're looking for a family movie to watch as a kid. It's like, oh, it's Disney movies. Bold. That's a dog. We love dog movies, especially ones that they're not going to die in, and because it's Disney, so they're not going to kill off this dog. So I know. Well, that was the thought. So all of a sudden, it was this super enjoyable movie for an hour and a half. I freaking love Bolt.
All right.
I thought you were going to stick with Emperor's New Groove.
No, go Bolt, baby.
I'll tell you, Emperor's New Groove, I have probably heard just people talking and referencing Emperor's New Groove more in the last year. So I think it's one of those, okay, it may not get attention in media, but in people's hearts.
Yes. TikTok.
Yeah.
Just there's a constant just churn of memes for Yzma on that right there. Just people that are cosplaying as it. I mean, you get so much. I'm in a meme group that is very adult oriented. That's Emperor's New Groove based, and
you're not going to have your laptop confiscated by anybody.
No. It's just adult humor.
All right, just wanted to make sure.
Adult humor oriented because there is a cult following of this film. Yeah. I mean, it's so quotable.
Yes.
This movie was entirely quotable.
Yes, quotable.
Cusco's poison, the poison for Cusco, the Cusco poison.
And musically, people just love it.
Fantastic. And it's perfect length as well. Like, it's not long at all. It is perfect for a 4 or 5 year old to watch, but plenty of adult humor in it. So that's why I really thought you were going that way. So
quick side story is David Spade tells a great story on Fly on the Wall, his podcast with Dana Carvey, that when he originally went in to voice it, it was something completely different. It was him and somebody else. And they voiced it, and then they took it to Eisner. I think it was the head of Disney at the time, I think.
Yeah.
And they took it to Disney head, okay? And they said, I don't like it, but I like this character. Can we do something with this still? And then and then a year later, he's still voicing the character. He's like, is this done? It's an awesome story. So I love that I know the back. I love the movie even before that, but now I'm like, oh, this was something else that they didn't like, so they revamped it into something that is pretty great. So
okay, so we evolved into Emperor's New Groove talk. Is that your pick?
No, it is not.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear.
Because me personally, I don't think it's underrated, but I can see generally it is.
Yeah, right.
Mine is 2002's Treasure Planet, right along with Atlantis.
Oh, yeah, very similar time frame.
Back-to-back years of Treasure Planet and Atlantis being released. They're both flopped at the box office, but are highly regarded now by Disney fans of going back to these are really, really good movies. And especially Treasure Planet, when you think of it as an original type of story, that it's fairy tale, science fiction, fantasy all in one. Because Atlantis has a basis of history and lore and stuff like that, whereas Treasure Planet this is a space exploration adventure film. It was ahead of its time. It truly was, for the thought process with the story of they find a map of a great treasure hidden by a space pirate. So you're thinking you have a mix of Goonies, Pirates of the Caribbean, adventure, all this, everything in there, where they have to get on a spaceship boat to travel to another universe to find this treasure. And it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Emma Thompson, Martin Short are the three main voice actors in this.
Wow, that's pretty
And do
solid.
a phenomenal job. It is one of those films as well, too, when you start thinking about Disney live-action remakes, how they've done the Renaissance films.
Yeah.
Something that would, I think, translate, especially with technology now, if they did it right. That is the key, if you do it right with CGI, right?
And market it
well. Treasure Planet is one that could compose well to a live action remake because the type of story it is, being an action adventure space, all this type of fantasy, but also it is a unique type of story that I think the public obviously is ready for, but they have to do it right. This is one, because I don't want a Lion King. I don't want a live action Lion King with soulless eyes on those.
What about Moana, Bradford?
Yeah.
You want that?
In 10 years, I would have wanted it, but not right now. It's too soon. And Aladdin, it was, Little Mermaid was good. I did like Little Mermaid.
Love Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it was good.
Or Beauty and the Beast. Treasure Planet is a unique type of thing because you're not just going back to your Renaissance days. You're giving something that deserves to be seen more time on the screen that could translate well to live action. I'd love to see a live action version of Treasure Planet. I think it could be done very well.
Would you like to see it on Broadway like Lion King?
No. I don't want to see a spaceship boat flying across the stage and then falling and somebody dies in the production.
To Treasure Planet.
Oh my god.
Oh, it could be so good.
No. But Treasure Planet is 100% underrated.
On that note.
What's yours?
I already gave mine.
No. I'm asking the general audience.
Oh, you're talking to the audience.
No, I'm talking.
Yeah. Okay.
This is for the audience. What is your underrated Disney animated film?
Yeah, let us know. Especially if how could you guys not talk about this one?
Well, there's so many to choose from. We easily could have left one off the table.
We covered 3 underrated, especially both. I don't know if underrated or not good or whatnot. Not trying to offend. I'm just saying, like, people don't talk about Bolt ever. I've not seen people talk about Bolt.
Right.
So, but that's underrated in your mind because you enjoy it.
Fit the category.
The 2 that Jim and I named, 100% Disney fans consider underrated.
Yeah.
100%. So I'm curious on what people think about Bolt.
Good for you. Let us know in the comments what your most underrated Disney movie is.
Untitled Film Project Podcast. Let us know.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.